Hail, hail, the Celts are here, and we're back for the latest edition of the flagship podcast on the Celts are here. I'm Quinny, and joined with me this week, of course, is Aaron. Aaron, good to see you, my man. Thanks for joining us again.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having me.
Aye, it's a pleasure. And we're coming into, it's that sticky point of the season, Aaron, where titles are won, where memories are made, where legacies are created. We've pretty much wrapped up the league. We've got a few bits and pieces to get into, of course, for that final hurdle. Got the semi-final coming this weekend, but the final game that we had before the split, as we come into this the final chapter of the season, as it were, we had probably the third game of the season that we've dropped points in, or something like the first time at home we've not had 100% record, with a 1-1 draw at Motherwell at the weekend. So my voice is a wee bit off. It's not down to singing or shouting or anything this time, but God knows what. But coming out of the Motherwell game, it was a wee bit of a anticlimax. I think we were expecting a much bigger result, weren't we?
Yeah, I think we were. I think when you look back at previous games played them, even at their pitch as well, we were fine. I know we wasn't the best performance in Motherwell, but we still got the result. We still got the goals, and I thought this been another kind of 3-0 game. Wouldn't have too many problems. You're sitting there at half time. I'm not too sure yet. You've not done the Ange performance yet. You're thinking second half he'll get into that team. He'll get this game changed around, come out second half, and it's just same again pretty much. We've never played the Ange ball that we know. And I think if we played the Ange ball that we all know and we all love to see, and walked away with that 1-1 draw, wouldn't mean as disappointed, but it's the performance levels which are quite disappointing leaving that game.
Yeah. I do feel like the lack of Ange ball, as he quite well put it, at the weekend. For me, it was, we just failed to get extra bodies into the final third. Like Taylor didn't really feel like he popped up in the final third very often. Obviously, there's no real Hatate. And, the McGregor Iwata, they're still kind of learning how to balance off each other, I think, So, yeah, I do think we really did. We didn't have a normal performance in that sense when we were attacking, that we were having all these overlaps and interchanges and swapping of positions with 1-2 touch passing. So I do feel that, that kind of played into Motherwell's hands. But I don't know how many people would have predicted we'd have got a clean sheet in this game, but because of, just the way the seasons went, and credit where credit's due to big KVV himself, took his goal well, in all fairness to him, credit where it's due. So I think second half we did expect to see something, but I didn't expect, Aaron, was the changes that were made, when they were made, who came on and off and all. I was surprised to see O'Reilly get taken off. That really did surprise me. And we got Kyogo on for 90. We got Daizamaida on for 90, as well as I think O must have got about half an hour himself. So we went kind of all out attack quite quickly in the second half once, it became really clear that Motherwell had abandoned all intentions of attacking after the goal. And I found it quite positive that the manager was quite quick to do that. It didn't really hesitate too much. But I was also a little bit disappointed that it didn't really amount to anything in the end. It didn't result in the win or the deciding goal.
Yeah, we even went 3 to back and taking Taylor off, which kind of emphasised manager. You never see Ange change his formation. He always sticks with his usual 4, sort of 3-3. But he was going for it this week, and taking O'Reilly off, I think, was a massive mistake. I think the past couple of games, he's been one of the standouts. He's been like the man, and it wasn't his best performance at the weekend there. But he still felt if there's going to be a wee creative spark, it would be O'Reilly. And it's kind of coming back to Tom Rogic. We let him go without really properly replacing him, because when we had O'Reilly and Rogic, we knew that if one started, you bring one on for the same sort of creative spark. You're bringing on, like, was it Vata they brought in for? I think it was Vata, he moved out wide.
Yep.
Maybe, or I can't remember exactly who, but it wasn't a midfield, it wasn't a like for like change. And you brought Turnbull on, obviously, in the end, and he doesn't have that creative spark that O'Reilly has, and we really missed that when they had their full team pretty much in the box with Van Veen up top, just hoping for a wee long ball over the top for him.
O'Reilly was directly subbed off for Vata, you're right.
Yeah.
Haksabanovic had come on for O, and Moy had come on for Iwata previous to that. And Taylor Turnbull was 87 minutes right at the very end, like you say, just going for it, right? With a left back coming off.
I thought Vata was good, to be fair to him. He had a few good crosses in. He had one over which Starfelt, I think, put it over the bar. Then O as well. at the game, I thought he's got to score that. I don't know how he's missed
Yeah.
that. But I was watching it back on the highlights. I thought he has a wee bit off balance. He's having to like stretch for it a wee bit. So, but still, I still think he should have done a wee bit better there.
I think he had the chances to do something in this game, to write his headline on it for sure. And yeah, I do think like Vata, like I kind of said this in a video I made earlier this week, but 10 out of 10 for effort and energy. I thought he did great when he came on for all that, but it did feel that we went looking for him quite a lot, like we wanted him out on the wide right with Johnson, even though it was a back three, like you said, he was still going out there and giving a wee overlap option now and again. But we kept going out there to that. We kept going. And we only really got that one cross that, I think everyone would agree, you expect your centre forward to get closer to that. But the big miss with O'Reilly for me was like, even before O came on, Kyogo, when they'd kind of banked in and stuff like Kyogo came a few times short to ball, and he couldn't stay on his feet. He couldn't keep the ball. Possession broke down every time when that happened. And when you add O in there and you're keeping O up top, because we don't normally see the centre forward drop in for a pass. So you're pushing O on the last man. You take O'Reilly out the middle of the pitch and then Keel goes in and amongst like that kind of area as well. It just felt like everything had to go out wide. There was no opportunity to come inside, play a quick couple of 1-2s, open up some space that way. So I don't know. It was telling and quite disappointing in some ways. That's kind of how I felt about it all.
Yeah. I mean, as well, just when you talk about Kyogo and O'Reilly there, they had linked up well when Kyogo went through one-on-one with Liam Kelly. It was a brilliant pass, I thought, from O'Reilly to find Kyogo, and I thought it was a dead-on goal. I don't know if we maybe should have just went for it rather than chipping it, but a good save as well. We've got to give credit when credit's due. It was a good save, but again,
make sure that one goes in. I mean, if you're Kyogo, just make sure that goes in. Don't try and chip him and donkey about with it. Motherwell will be getting penalties for the time wasting that happened now. I don't know what else to say about it, really. I think the referee let them get away with it a bit more than, you would ever expect the referee to let them away with it. But, I don't know. I just I could only laugh, when it was going on because, really what else do you expect them to do, really? But it's, it was frustrating to say the least, but the referee definitely let them away with a bit much, didn't he?
Exactly. I mean, we saw a lot of teams come to Celtic Park this year, and their game plan is time waste, stop Celtic playing their football. But Motherwell, it was also their game plan, and fair play, it worked, but it was embarrassing. It was, I was sitting in my seat boiling away, especially again Liam Kelly. I mean, at one point he was actually down in my seat. I looked along to the touch the dugouts, and I saw a stretcher getting prepared and all that, and the folk were all out, and I'm like, all right, he's actually, and then next thing is he's up taking a big goal kick, and then he remembers he's injured again, and it was embarrassing. I was just get on with it. Like, I understand the wee bit. The referee needs to get a grip of this. You saw him in the game in Pittodrie on Sunday. He was then telling the ball boys, look, you need to hurry up here. Park. There's never any of that. They never tell the opposition players to hurry up or whatever.
There needs to be something for these people that will just leave their elbow on the pitch, and then roll back on when no one's looking, just to stop play and make that happen. Like, that's a foul. Like, really, that's disrupting play. That's, you might even be able to call that dangerous play to an extent, like if you're just kidding on and
even yourself there as well.
Yeah, it depends how pedantic you wanted to be with it, but when it is in bad spirit, there's people taking advantage. That's the thing. People worry about that whole concussion protocol, that you get an extra sub if a guy's concussed, because people worry that people get cute with it and they go, oh, I've hit my head, or I've got a concussion to get an extra sub. That's people's primary worry with it. And that kind of thing is in the same realm for me. It's bad taste, it's bad crack, and it's one of those ones where it's, maybe, if the guy is genuinely on the pitch a little bit, and then you're making sure the ref acknowledges you're on the pitch, whatever, right? But if you get clattered into the advertising boards or whatever it might be, and then you're lying on the ground and then you're slowly rolling and crawling back on, acting all, it's just pathetic, man,
Just stay where you are, get your treatment. Just, I don't know.
I may be exaggerating the point a bit as well, but it was a bit, you could only laugh at it. It was just comical how the referee can't say, get a grip, or booking for simulation, or something,
because that's all it was. You see, if that was Celtic at 1-0 up, imagine Imagine what
Exactly.
we would.
It'd be totally different, man, for sure. So we leave that behind us, and it was like the third time or something like that we've dropped points. It's not too much to be upset about, really. A few of the guys will come out of that game. Haksabanovic, one or two others feeling I could have done a bit more in that game. Maeda had a few good chances, but the few chances Maeda's got, like, no one else has those chances. Like, if you're playing anyone else in that Celtic team, see those two headers, no one else is getting them. Jota's not got on the end of that. No one, so their chances that, he's missed them, but he's made it. No one else would have got that. Maybe Kyogo, right? But like no one else gets those balls. That's like a trope from Daisen Maeda. If you watch all this stuff from Japan, that's how his goals are scored. All the way out there and running right at the last minute on a big diag and knocking one in for a tap in. Similar stuff we've seen from him. But we've got the big one this weekend, right? It feels like we're playing them. We've had, what was it, the green and whitewash season? We played them like 7 or 8 times or something. Yeah. We're not quite in that territory, I don't think, but it certainly feels like we're playing them all the time now. And they will be sick of the sight of us at this point. But this weekend, obviously, neutral venue. So we're going to get a partisan crowd, as it were. We're going to get both sides of the city in the arena. And, going into the semi-final, there's some good news coming into this. We've had confirmation that Jota, Rio and Abada are all back in training in preparation for this, so we expect them all to be in the squad somehow, somewhere. The one question I've got, Aaron, to start us off is, do we want extra time so the guys can get enough minutes? Because some of these subs that we've got, they're crying out for minutes on the pitch. So if it goes to extra time, then surely that's like a good thing for squad morale, isn't it? That they all get about an hour's worth of football at the weekend rather than share 90 minutes between 12 of them or 16 of them or whatever.
I mean, you don't look at it that way, but I'm so traumatised from the semi-final last season when it went to extra time. Welsh at right back and Ralston at left back. That was hard. It won't be in that situation, hopefully, this season with the depth we've got now, but I'd rather get it over and done with. Preferably a few goals first half, get it done out the way, kind of relax a wee bit the second half a wee bit more, without taking a foot off the gas.
Yeah. All jokes aside, I think it's, we're going to go into this game with that real, that kind of disappointment at the weekend does maybe give some of the guys a bit of a cold shower, to it's not a foregone conclusion we rock up. And I don't think anyone in the squad thinks like that, of course, but dropping points at home where you are trying to break down an opponent for the whole game is definitely something that will give them a wee renewed vigour, because that's the way you expect them to play when they're at their best, or when they're in their match plan will involve doing a lot of what Motherwell done. There's no two ways about that, and it's about coping with that and breaking it down. So the extra bodies that come back in, I think Jota is going to be a huge addition into this. As much as I love Haksabanovic, or what I've seen of him so far at Celtic, the last 2 games, he's just failed to take. If he was going to start this semi-final, he's not anymore. If Jota's in training all week, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, Haksabanovic, the Kelly game, the Hearts game, and then the Motherwell game at the weekend, he's been poor, very, very poor. I've high hopes for him. I know he's been on the right wing, which is slightly off his kind of preferred position, but you still expect him to have some influence. But he had none in the past few games, and it's kind of getting to the point where this is Celtic. You've got your chances. You've got the chance to go and start and press the fans and press the manager. But if anything, he's kind of fallen down the pecking order now, I feel, with doing that. And I would say he was in front of Abada, and I think Abada's probably now worked his way above him again, obviously, with Jota. And I would start Jota the weekend even if he's not fully fit. I think he needs to be in that team, because he gives us that wee creative spark, which Haksabanovic just sort of lacked in that right-hand side the past few games.
Yeah, totally. And I think coming into this match, before the little Jota injury, because he's only missed a couple of games, that front three seemed very settled and was getting a good rhythm and a good tempo to it, so I think we'll definitely welcome Jota back into the team with open arms. Right. Yeah, big time. Because I think, you need somebody that can go by the lines and do all that stuff that Jota does for us, because, semi-finals, it's do or die on the day, and you need magic in the team. And Haksabanovic seems to have a bit of magic in his boots, but from that right-hand side, like you say, the last couple of games, he's just not really done it. I wouldn't say he's been bad, but he's just not been good or great. He's not, he's not contributed. He's not added into the team.
I think when you go back to early in the season, I think it was St Johnstone away. He sort of played that number 10 role with Kyogo ahead of him, and I thought he was quite effective there. I thought, right, we've got some competition for that midfield place, but he's not really seemed to play there since then. He's mainly been on the left or on the right, and when he's on the left, when he's came on, he's been all right. He's scored a few cracking goals, but I don't know. There's just something there that I don't know. He's not willing to track back either. I mean, you go back to Motherwell game there, Van Veen in that far side, he bet a few players, but his tackles, was it a tackle? Was it? It was hard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Half attempted a tackle, half kind of just couldn't be bothered.
Rio Hatate, now with what we've seen with Ange Postecoglou since he's adopted Rio and brought him into the club and everything, is that he would just throw him in the deep end every week. When he first came, he played all the time. He ran him into the ground. And the mantra that we got out of the manager at that time was something to the effect of, this is what he needs to do. This is what it takes to get to the level, Mm-hmm. So even though he's not, it was a hamstring injury and he's not been out of training, as much, I think he's maybe a bit closer to playing in this team than maybe you would think on the face of it if it was like any other player, if that makes sense. What do you think about Hatate's opportunity to come into this game?
I don't know. I think the manager he said himself last season, playing him consistently when he came in was a mistake. And then you look at what happened to Kyogo when he was carrying that injury and the manager played him and he was out for 3 or 4 months when Yakimakis had that brilliant spell. I don't know if he'll make the same mistake twice with Hatate and risk him. Especially when you've got Awata, McGregor and O'Reilly, who all started the weekend, and that seemed to be a sort of a dress rehearsal for the final, trying them three together, but especially Awata and McGregor. So Awata was further forward, even though we've kind of known him to be a holding midfielder like McGregor. So it feels like Andrew's kind of experimenting with that a wee bit, seeing what he could work out with that. So I'm thinking maybe he sticks that midfield and Hatate's on the bench if we're lacking that creative spark, which Hatate can easily bring to this team. He could easily replace Awata, half-time, 60th minute sort of time.
Yeah, I think this is a huge game for Awata because the last Derby match, I think we all thought Awata could have started, and we started Moy, and it did feel like a mistake in that game. Mm-hmm. So the preparation, the dress rehearsal we've had, I think it's going to be a big game for Awata to come in. So I think you could be right. Maybe Rio starts on the bench with the likes of Abada as well, because that was part of the problem maybe against Motherwell is it's great to see Rocco Vata come on and it's great to see us go to 3 in the back and whatever. But we were quite limited in options on the bench, having guys like Abada, on top of the guys like Moy and Turnbull, and even Haksabanovic coming from the bench is a different proposition. So I think the midfield will be a really interesting one. We've heard a lot of kind of talking up from, the usual suspects that wear blue, talking about how this one will be different and how this will be that and whatever. For me in midfield, I really any combination of midfield we're likely to play. For me, it's probably going to be quite close to a no contest. I think on the ball, off the ball, we should be able to match them and beat them in most areas. Is there anyone in that team that wears blue that in midfield or anywhere else, Aaron, that you think we probably need to maybe pay a wee bit of mind to, or we maybe need to pay the Van Veen treatment to, but except that this guy could score a goal and maybe worry about that before the game starts?
The other mob. To be honest, I don't think cocky when I'm saying this, but there's no one that is such a threat that's going to worry me. I mean, Ryan Kent, you always kind of feel he could do something, but he's so inconsistent, so you never actually know. I mean, the other one's Tavernier, but that's mainly from the threat he poses from free kicks and corners, but also bombing down that right-hand side for him. But if we manage to put my head on him, again, he'll think twice before he bombs forward, especially if the game's level. And I was speaking to someone who's at the coaching convention last week, and they were saying that Ange doesn't actually work in set pieces with the team defending them. He says he knows the players know who they're going to be marking, but they won't do anything about it in training. They'll leave it to be done on the pitch. But when you come into a game like Rangers, who do threat through set pieces, you saw that when they played us. You kind of want a wee bit practice on it a wee bit, looking at it, I think. But hearing that kind of surprised me a wee bit, I think, when he told me that.
It's maybe a part of focusing your energy, and it's maybe a wee bit of a bluff as well. That international coaches convention, I've got a UEFA license. I've been at a bunch of this stuff, and they do kind of guard what they tell you and stuff like that. There is a wee bit of, I was actually at a very good one that Michael Beale done, I must admit, and Rogers is number 2. What was his name again? McLaughlin or something. They were both really good, but you got the sentiment from both of them that there was always little bits they were leaving out or keeping to themselves or whatever.
Yeah.
It's actually quite funny. I think I could maybe tell this story now. It's been a wee while, but see the one that Beale done. It was with the SFA, and it was called Midfield Masterclass. And Gerrard was the manager, obviously, at the time.
Right.
And the SFA had guest speakers in, and it was like Darren Fletcher, Scott Brown, and Paul Scholes. It was a really good event. And I say Beale was the number 2, obviously, at Rangers at the time, and he done like the morning segment, the session, right? And he was talking about midfield. Actually, he was talking about the Rangers midfield, and they won't play. And he was actually he actually said quite a lot, right? And he was telling us stuff. He was actually telling us stuff like I don't know, maybe like when they play, I can't remember the exact ins and outs of it all, right? So obviously I didn't follow Rangers that intently, but it was stuff like they wouldn't play Aribo and Kamara, but they would play Kamara and Davis, or they would, it was little things like that, he was suggesting and whatever. I can't remember what days of this was on, right? It was on I don't know, imagine it was on a Tuesday or something. That weekend, Rangers were playing Aberdeen, right? And that coaching session, the whole back row was the Aberdeen coaching staff. And that weekend, mate, Rangers didn't beat Aberdeen. It was a draw or something. No, what's that like? I can't remember. Maybe it was Derek McInnes was the manager. He wasn't there, but it was like, these things you see everyone with the gear. But I'm pretty confident there was first team Aberdeen there, or close to it anyway. And I say that weekend they didn't win. I just found it funny. I've never really told that story before, so I hope he's got a kick out of that one, because it was a good laugh for me when it happened. But how did we even come on to that again? We were talking about midfields and stuff, I guess.
And then set pieces.
Oh yeah, so these things sometimes they do tell you bits, and I think Mickey Beale maybe told us one too many bits that week, But with McLaughlin, for example, Rogers is number 2. He told you nothing. You only got a training session out of him that they had super vetted and not maybe over exaggerating it, but it wasn't as in detail as as you'd maybe expect in some of these things. So for Ange to say that, for me, maybe it is a little bit of, it's probably truth and sentiment to it. But when you're playing against a team that are so dangerous at set pieces, it would be negligent to not say this is how they play from left-sided free kicks, or this is, an in-swinging corner, what we need to worry about, that kind of idea. So I would take that. It's interesting to hear that it's probably not something that they spend a day on or commit resources to for videos or whatever. But I definitely would take a grain of salt with that. But it's a very interesting detail all the same. Because you don't really get the sense that we practice attacking corners the same, really, do you? Really, it is just put the big guys up, and then we're going to play it short, or we're going to swing it in.
I actually think Starfelt and Kurtavik are due a goal from a corner. I mean, and Starfelt scored 2 goals this season. I think I can remember one was from a corner, the other one might have been, but it feels like ages since we've actually got some from a corner. Don't know about you. I can't think of the last time we've got something.
I think I don't even think we've had a wee scrappy tap in from a second ball or something from it either. But yeah, we play so many of them short and then edge of the box spot these days, as well. It's a quick one short, unless as I say, maybe it's Ross County away. We've swung a few in those kind of games and just put the big men up and go for it. But again, it also does depend, I think, because we've not really got a designated out and out set piece monster in the squad. Moy's on a lot of them if he's starting. O'Reilly can take them. I think Jota fancies himself from some free kicks. Obviously scored a free kick in the Champions League. But I don't think here in the squad, we have that guy that's an assist machine from dead balls, which is maybe something we're missing perhaps to some extent. I think you're right. We're definitely due one for sure.
Yeah, we don't even have the designated penalty taker. I mean, we're up at we're down at Marnock, and it was Gould that was on the penalty, but we've seen Jota on them, and we've seen McGregor on them, and Moy on them. And see that meme?
That meme that's going around the Kyogo smiling and all that before the penalty? Mate, I can't stand the sight of that footage. See, because he missed the penalty, I'm like, I can't look at that. I can't stand it, you know.
It's a
He
bit like,
missed.
we're 3-0 up or whatever. If I miss it, I miss it,
Aye.
so what?
Aye, well, fair enough. Actually, I never thought about it from that POV. Maybe if that's the angle, fair enough. I get that, actually. But, oh, no, it annoys me because I just think he missed the penalty. Kind of done me in as well. So, I'm a bit biased in that sense. But yeah, we've kind of spoke about big game for Iwata, you know, and it's potentially Carter Vickers' last game of the season. We got that kind of report that he is likely to be going into surgery for some sort of surgery after the semi-final. I was listening to Huddle Breakdown earlier this week, and those guys seem to know a guy that knows a guy, and they seem to almost confirm it without confirming it, if you can read between the lines and whatever. Yeah. So it does sound like it will be Carter Vickers' last game of the season, which it sounds like a masterstroke. It's like 5D chess from Celtic, you know. We're getting them to, you know, basically that's the last meaningful match of the season, you could argue quite easily. You know, all due respect to the final, you know, should we get there? But then we're making sure we're getting him for next season. And because he's going to be on the surgery table, it's very hard to imagine someone's going to come in and pay 20 million for him or whatever. So it's almost like securing that we're going to get him into the Champions League campaign. We're going to have Carter Vickers as like the rock of our defence. And I think that's a really fat silver lining to take from this.
Yeah, that's what me and my granddad were actually talking about when that news broke. Because we are saying that if somebody's going to leave this summer, it's probably going to be Carter Vickers because he's by far the best player in the team, in our opinion anyway. I don't think he's quite at the stage to leave yet, and neither is the likes of Jota or whatever. So
Agreed.
keeping him there is going to be brilliant. No team's going to come and buy a player that's injured and making a recovery. But yeah, I think keep him for this game. Hopefully he gets through okay and send him away to surgery, because I think Kobayashi, from what we've seen of him, he seems a decent player, and he also allows Starfelt to go to the right. So you're looking at Starfelt on the right, Kobayashi on the left. Doesn't really give you too many worries for even the Rangers game. I'm still thinking they should be able to get through that, to manage that absolutely soundly. So
yeah, and we might even have a discussion, and we'll kind of get to it as it comes, but there might be a discussion to had, because let's see how it pans out. But like, you know, having Starfelt on the left, you know, like, and then having Starfelt on the right, you know, and there'll be some conversations to be had there. Like, is CCV and Starfelt better than Starfelt in UK? Maybe it might be a conversation we'll see ourselves having. But I think in midfield, like defence, I think we're going to have Carter Vickers, we're going to have Johnson, we're going to have Starfelt, Taylor. It picks itself. In midfield, maybe the question for this game is O'Reilly or Moy. I think we'll probably say Iwata and McGregor are going to start. I think O'Reilly is going to start personally, but you know, I did hear some fans very disappointed with his performance against Motherwell, which I think's harsh. And I know you've kind of predicted already you would see O'Reilly in the midfield, but what do you think of that? Yeah, in terms of Moy coming into this, or O'Reilly criticism from last week affecting his starting position potentially?
without sounding too harsh, I don't really think the question should be there. I think it should be O'Reilly's place. I mean,
yeah,
Moy had that good spell. I'm not going to take that away from him. He had that good spell from the World Cup break. But since that injury, he's poor, very poor. He's playing like he's got a parish on his back and it's holding him back. I mind that Rangers at home game a few weeks ago there, it seemed like every pass just wasn't going to his intended target, and he was sloppy, he was giving the ball away. And it's like, we're playing with a man down here.
Yep.
I just don't know if it's his age or if it's his injury or whatever. But I think for Moy to reach those levels he had reached after World Cup, he needs those consistent enough games, and that's something he's not had over these past few games. It has been O'Reilly's spot in the team. So when you look at it from that perspective, I do think it is O'Reilly. I think that's kind of set on, dead on, that it will be O'Reilly that starts that.
Yeah. We've kind of agreed already that Rangers don't have anyone in their squad to the level of Kevin Van Veen, right? So their only main threat, of course, is from set pieces. And if we don't have O'Reilly starting, that is a big difference to set piece defending. You know, like Moy is not the same man that O'Reilly is in that respect. And equally, if we're going to be counter-attacking off of set pieces, Moy, as much as he can play the ball, like anywhere on the pitch, probably, you know, from that kind of counter-attack position. But we need other people in the midfield that can cover the ground on foot as well from midfield. And if we have Moy, Iwata and McGregor, I think that, you know, you maybe don't have as much of a capability for that to happen, perhaps, because Hampden's, a bit of a bigger pitch as far as Scottish pitches go as well, and like you say, without that tempo coming into the game of getting the minutes, getting the reps, maybe this is a bit too soon for Moy. I think it's all about O'Reilly in this midfield with McGregor and Iwata.
Yeah, and you also saw the final in February there, the goal we conceded from the corner free kick, sorry, it was. Moy was it was at fault without being at fault. He was a wee bit flat-footed. He was under the ball. He was shoved quite easily. You feel if you get O'Reilly, who is that good wee bit taller than him, gives you something else from a set piece while defending it.
Yeah.
And O'Reilly's also pretty underrated, I think, when it comes to defensive side of the game. But we saw him in that holding midfield position when Callum McGregor was injured. He would commonly put a foot in, or even when he slides, he normally wins that ball. So I think in a game like Rangers, when, let's face it, they want to win their ball, they win the ball back when they're in their defensive third of the pitch. Somebody like O'Reilly can go in there and nick the ball like he can do. It's going to be a big benefit, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the main thing is set pieces for Rangers. So we'll see how many times the whistle gets blown, because that's going to be every opportunity they get, I think, personally. Yeah. But yeah, I think, I say jokes at the beginning of the segment aside, I would like to see us do this in 90 minutes. But it was a joke I made on a show earlier this week where it's like, I do think like some of the guys in the team, like they're dying for minutes. And like if it went to extra time, they would probably be pretty gutted because they've not got the depth, they've not got the team, they've not got the whatever. Whereas, like, the joke goes, some of our guys might be quite happy they're getting another half an hour to play football. So, but yeah, no, I expect us to do it at 90. I think it's hopefully going to be quite comfortable. I think there is always the unknown, the intangible that will come into it, like the decisions, the bookings, substitutes, injuries, all these things. We'll see how they all kind of lie. If I was to give myself a score prediction because it's at Hampden, I would go with a 4-1. Is what I would probably go for the weekend. If you were to go with a score prediction, what would you hit it with?
I thought I was being confident with 3-1. 3-1. I just feel they will get a goal, and it will be from a set piece. But I'm fancying Kyogo to get, I think, 2 goals.
I think we can get a couple quick. And that's the main thing that I think we can get a couple quick, and then, like I say, I think we've dropped the ball maybe in a few spells of different matches of just keeping the scoring tempo throughout the game. And I think if we get a few quick, then we'll get 1 or 2 throughout the rest of the game, hopefully. And then they're always going to get 1, aren't they? It's just the way it goes, sort of thing. But then once we're done and dusted with that, we should be winning the game, hopefully. That's the way we go. Hail, hail. Good luck to everyone that goes to the game. Travel safe and stay out of trouble and all that good stuff. But after that, then we do have this kind of 5 games in the league, and then we'll have the cup final, obviously, against, a lower ranked opponent as it was. And no, there'll be no Carter Vickers. Yuki Kobayashi is probably going to play all these games. We've seen Iwata get significant minutes already. And with Rio coming back from injury, it's going to be hard to... I think the team is going to be really hard to pick almost every week for the final 5 games. Coming into that kind of post-split game, I think the team's going to be really difficult to pick every week for that final kind of, victory lap of the season.
Yeah, I think we'll see some rotation. I do think we'll see more of Ben Summers and Rocco Vata. But what we won't see is Ange slowing down. He'll be going for the 5 wins, because we get the 5 wins, I think we've become like one of the most dominant teams in Scottish football. If we've got records there to break, and we go to Tynecastle. I saw quite a lot of talk on Twitter about dropping points there, going at Ibrox. No, get us win at Tynecastle, go to Ibrox. We're 3 goals away right now as I speak from breaking the amount of goals scored in the Invincible season. So we'll get a decent one at Ibrox, break the record of goals when we're doing that, and then we have some at home. If we win at Ibrox, we can get to 100 points and finish the season and possibly 106 points after a win against Hibs and Aberdeen at home.
I don't think there'll be any danger that we'll be definitely looking to do that, but I think the manager will back a lot of the squad to do this, and I think a lot of because I think that's how you keep a lot of these guys on side, is that you guarantee them the minutes, you guarantee them the medals at some stage, if they're putting the work in, if they're contributing to the team, if they're doing what's required of them when called upon. And Ralston and Bern, who knows really about Burnaby? I think we've all changed our opinion a few times this season. Like, is he good enough? Is he in the team? Does Ange even like him? We've all kind of tried to figure it out a few times. But there's undeniable, the Ralston situation is undeniable. He's just been maybe a wee bit unlucky with injuries this year. So I wouldn't be surprised we've seen a wee bit more Ralston. And I say in midfield, really, it's a case of do we really need to rush it, Hatate back to fitness, or is it just we give him, just some reps and get him back into shape to finish the season off with a bit of a bang, and we give Iwata much more of those minutes to get him up to speed, with the team in bed in ahead of next season. But I would think as well, we'll probably see at some stage, and I know Kyogo's also chasing some personal accolades himself, but surely O's got to get some starts, across these games somewhere, somehow. What do you think about that?
There's got to be some starts for your players like Benabaite, Ralston, whatever. But with I feel Andrew's not going to drop Kyogo, especially when he's going for 30 goals, and after 30 goals, it'll be 35 goals sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's given the chance from the bench to come and do something. I think he's got 3 goals, but he's not really done anything to convince you that he would be able to do it from the start yet. I don't know about you, but he's shown some positive signs. He's good with the ball, like he'll hold up the ball sort of thing. But it's just sometimes really frustrating about his game still, which he has to improve on before he's capable of leading the Celtic line. One of the things he does really annoys me is he's getting a long ball played from Joe Hart to him. Instead of looking at the ball, he's looking for his defender. He's backing into the defender. His eyes are totally off the ball. I don't know. That just really annoys me when he does that. Just go for the ball, win it, turn it, pass it, or whatever, move. And he's got to take the chances like he had at Motherwell, I think, if he wants to have a chance leading a Celtic front line.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point, I suppose. And yeah, opportunities are earned, I guess. But yeah, it's just one of those things. When I look at those final games, I'm starting to think, right, well, what differences will we see? I'm looking forward to seeing UK play like five games, one against them, which will be a big game for him and Iwata. If Iwata wasn't to start the semi, I think he will. But even if he wasn't, I think these guys need to get a derby match under their belt before the season closes out. So I think that'll be good for UK. And if these guys can play also a cup final, which, maybe a bit of a low stakes cup final on the pitch, but it's quite high stakes, of course, like for the season completion, as it were. That's a good victory for them to be a part of,
Yeah.
So I don't think there'll be any slowing down or foot off the gas stuff. It's just, I just think we might see a few more of the fringe characters maybe come in to get some starting positions here and there. Like the final week of the season, we are away to I beg your pardon. We're at home to St Mirren, away to Hibs, at home to Aberdeen. So that week there, we've got 3 games in 7 days. So I think that might be the week maybe we see. But again, as I'm even thinking about this, and I don't know how the manager really, I don't think the manager is that sentimental when I think about like Beaton and Rogic's last game. I don't think there was any sentiment really involved in that. But as I look at this, I'm thinking, would he even maybe give Siegrist a few games to get a medal at the end of the season? I don't know how.
I think it's 6 or 7 games, something about that figure, he had to play. So I think it's too late for Siegrist to get to that sort of.
Yeah, I think you're right. Joe Hart's played 33. Yeah, so if it's 6 and he's done, yeah, fair enough.
But that's actually been a good sign, though, isn't it, Siegrist? I know he's been injured, but he's not. He's had the start up at Ross County in the Cup. And he's probably had 1 or 2 others, which I can't think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But you kind of feel like he's only coming to push Joe Hart. And it seems, even though Siegrist is back from injury, it seems to be Bain that's kind of the number 2 at the moment, because he's one appear on the bench, whereas Siegrist isn't in these match day squads recently. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to him in the summer.
Yeah, big time. The goalkeeper was one that we'll definitely be coming back to, I'm sure. Over the coming weeks and months. And we had a very, I don't know, I had a mixed opinion on this, right? But we got a new kit kind of leaked. I don't know how official it is. Everyone seems to be taking it as quite official with like the invisible badge and all that kind of stuff. And when I seen it, my first instinct when I seen it was I was like, nah, don't like it. But, I don't know. I'm torn. When I see it's meant to resemble like Lisbon Lions and all that, and, okay, I can dig it a wee bit. I don't know. I'm conflicted. Have you seen it yourself? What are your thoughts on it?
And I love it.
You love it?
Love it.
Love it at first sight, but?
Yes.
Love it at first sight? Well, okay.
Well, I saw 2 versions of it, and I hate one and love another.
Oh, okay.
So I saw one with the Dafabet logo on it, and it was the yellow, like, kind of symbol with the right underneath it. And I was like, nah, you can't have the white Adidas, white Celtic badge with a coloured logo. You need to have that white. So I'm really hoping it doesn't have that Dafabet, because I saw it without. I thought, that's stunning. It's perfect. I like the green stripes and the green as well. It's so sentimental, as you said. It's just brilliant. I think it is the kit, one of kit for the ages. I think it could be.
Yeah, when I seen it side by side with the Lisbon Lions one, I was like, okay, yeah, I can definitely dig it. But I've not seen one with the sponsor, the belly sponsor on it, so that might ruin it. Because Celtic will need to play it with if they've got a sponsor, you know, like as much as we can all buy the kit without the sponsor, they will still need to play in it, and it's them you want to see, you know,
Yeah,
in the cool kit,
modelling it,
winning the trophies and all that, looking like the Lisbon Lions in Europe and whatever, you know. So yeah,
the only,
maybe hopefully a Daffabet can just go camouflage and just blend
yeah.
into the hoops somehow, and they can just accept it there. Because whenever you see these other kits, like Borussia Dortmund and a few other teams have done some really good ones. It's called a blackout kit, and
Yeah,
the whole thing is black, and the sponsors not normally get behind that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would hope that there's no problems with that if it was to make it look crap, you know, by having it. If we need to keep it on.
The only thing I'm against is the price. It's going to come in about £80.
You know that.
Oh, I don't know. I said this season I wasn't buying it at that price, and I went and bought one at that price. It was 70 odd, and then £80. I don't know. But with this whiteout kit, do you think it kind of paves the way for one of these all black kits, which you saw like Borussia Dortmund have and a few other teams have? I think that's what paves the way for that.
Yeah, Adidas are all about doing like kind of funky kits or whatever. I don't really know how the whole thing would work, but like who comes up with the ideas and then who implements it and whatever. Because little kind of side note, but like Adidas sponsor the whole MLS, so every MLS kit is Adidas. And so they did something at the weekend. I forget what it was, but they do stuff all the time because it's America. It's all gimmicks, right?
Yeah.
But like if you watch MLS at the weekend, every home team wore the same kit and every away team wore the same kit, but it was personalized to them with their own badge and, you know, whatever else is going on. But the actual kit was like, I forget what it is, but it might be like recycling month or something like that, Save the Planet month or whatever, and everything's about recycling, and the kits are all made from recycled goods or whatever, and it's to spread awareness of a cause, yada yada. And then I think Puma must be the blackout ones because it's Borussia Dortmund and those kind of teams. But anyway, point being, I think Adidas are maybe one of those ones that are more like, it's not like the blackout thing is like everyone with Puma got a blackout kit. I don't think Adidas, you know, because like they do, I think they just do things for like anyone that's going to bring it up or whatever and going, like if Celtic wanted to do, we're doing a 135-year anniversary strip or something, or we're going to do the whiteout kit, we're going to do this, or then I think they would get behind it. But I'm not sure if they're the idea people for this, whereas maybe some of their companies maybe are. But I'm just imagining all this, so what do I know?
Just Quinny speaking here.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So I think they're always up for it. These companies are always up for selling shirts at the end of the day, you know. So
Adidas, we've had the St Patrick's Day one, the away one, the third one, the home one. Then we had the LGBT awareness one. That's 5 kits, 5 tops this season.
Yep.
They're not against
awareness one.
Kits.
No, definitely not. I got the St Patrick's one because St Patrick's Day is my birthday, which is fun. But we've still not wore it yet. And see the first game I went to. Where is it? It's here. The first game I went to afterwards, we were at home, and I got the programme, and I was like, "Oh, are we going to be wearing this today? Fantastic!"
We're supposed to wear it. I was Hibs, wasn't on the 18th or something.
Aye,
we're supposed to wear it then, and we never. It was a home kit. I was quite disappointed.
So we still not wore it. We should have had it for that St Mirren game, that we wore the unlucky top for. But we'll see what happens. Oh no, this is actually I've just put this down. This is actually from the Derby.
All right.
So I seen that and I was like, "Oh, we're wearing this today. That'd be fun," you know. Obviously, it wasn't to be. But yeah, looking forward to it. It should be a good weekend. Are you going to the game yourself?
No, sorry, no. Never got the ballot, so I'm down the pub. Got a ticket for the pub, so.
You'll be watching it from a safe venue then?
Yeah.
You're not going to be in the front lines?
Nah, sadly not. I know quite a few of us going, my mum's going in that, but still working on that ticket. You know, I might get it passed down.
See if you can get it passed down for sure. I won't be making it, unfortunately, myself, so I'll be watching it from a safe venue as well. Jokes aside, everyone who is going to the game, stay safe, have fun, obviously, hail, hail, and we'll catch you next week. Take care.
Thank you.
Just gonna